biggest news today. The South Korean entertainment world has once again been shaken by a major question that has left BTS fans around the globe both stunned and buzzing. Where exactly has Jungkook been all this time? And what truly happened behind his sudden return to the public eye? Known as the Golden Magne, Jungkook unexpectedly reappeared after a period of silence that sparked wild speculation, fan theories, and intense discussions across international social media platforms. His return was not merely the reappearance of an idol, but an event that reopened a long-standing conversation about pressure, privacy, and the realities of life as a global star. Several months before his return, Jungkook gradually disappeared from the spotlight. There were no personal posts, no sudden live broadcasts, and his public activities were significantly reduced compared to his usual presence. For fans accustomed to his consistent visibility, this silence felt unusual. Hashtags bearing his name began trending, not to celebrate new work, but to ask questions and ensure that the idol was doing well. In the fast-paced K-pop industry, where expectations are relentless, even a brief absence can trigger widespread concern. His agency did issue a short statement saying that Jungkook was focusing on personal matters and certain preparations, but this explanation only widened the space for interpretation. Some fans suspected he was secretly preparing a solo project, while others linked his absence to mental exhaustion after years of intense schedules. There were also speculations that he had chosen to withdraw to find peace outside South Korea. Far from cameras and industry pressure done on social media, theories spread like puzzle pieces assembled by collective imagination. Some claimed to have seen Jungkook in a small European town, dressed simply and living like an ordinary citizen. Others circulated unverified reports of his presence in the United States, associating him with music studios and international collaborations. Every blurry photo and every story from a friend quickly became fuel for heated discussions that spread at incredible speed. Amid all the speculation, one thing remained consistent: the relatively mature attitude of the fans. Rather than demanding detailed explanations, many ARMY members called for support and patience. They reminded one another that Jungkook, despite being a global star, is still a human being entitled to personal space. This narrative stood in stark contrast to an entertainment culture that often demands total transparency from public figures. When Jungkook finally reappeared, it happened without excessive fanfare. There was no major press conference, no long teaser campaign. He appeared with his familiar smile, yet with a noticeably different aura, calmer, more mature, and as if carrying stories left unspoken. In his first appearances, whether through brief broadcasts or official activities, the public quickly realized that Jungkook's absence had not been an empty pause, but an important phase in his personal journey. In a statement he later shared, Jungkook did not specify locations or detailed activities during that time. He simply said that he needed time to breathe, reflect, and reconnect with himself. This simple sentence became the most honest answer amid overwhelming curiosity. For some fans, it was enough. For others, the mystery remained part of his allure. Entertainment industry observers viewed Jungkook's move as a reflection of a changing mindset among the current generation of idols. No longer merely entertainment machines, they are beginning to take breaks for mental health and career sustainability. In this context, Jungkook's temporary disappearance can be seen as a subtle form of resistance against a system that demands endless perfection. His return also had a tangible impact on the industry. Searches for his name surged, international media once again spotlighted BTS, and discussions about artist welfare resurfaced. Some idols even openly stated that they were inspired by Jungkook's courage to take time for himself. This phenomenon showed how a personal decision can resonate widely across the global entertainment world. Although the mystery of where Jungkook was during his silent period may never be fully answered, many have begun to realize that the question, "Where was Jungkook?" may be less important than "How is Jungkook now?" From the way he speaks, creates, and interacts with fans, it is clear that he has returned with more balanced energy and a clearer sense of purpose. Ultimately, this story is not just about an idol disappearing and reappearing unexpectedly. It is about the human behind the spotlight, about the right to pause in a world that never stops moving, and about fans learning to love in healthier ways. Jungkook may have returned without revealing all his secrets, But therein lies his strongest message. Not all mysteries need to be solved, and not every journey needs to be witnessed by the public. That Jungkook's return marks a new chapter, not only for himself, but also for how the world views idols. The mystery may continue to be discussed, analyzed, and remembered, but one thing is certain. His return carries a simple yet powerful belief that behind the glittering stage and roaring cheers, there is space that must be respected, even for a star as big as Jungkook. Continuing the story that has captivated millions, Jungkook's return serves as a mirror of broader changes occurring within the global entertainment industry. After his first appearance following the silent period, every move once again drew attention, but this time with a different nuance. The public no longer merely awaited sensation, but tried to read meaning behind his more cautious demeanor and measured words. Jungkook seemed aware of the questions his absence raised, yet he chose to answer not through lengthy explanations, but through his work and attitude. That in several moments, Jungkook displayed emotional maturity stronger than before. He spoke about process, about learning his own limits, and about listening to his inner voice amid external demands. These brief statements were immediately interpreted as signs that his disappearance was not an escape, but a deep internal journey. Many fans felt that Jungkook returned not only as an idol, but as a more complete individual. International media also adopted a more reflective tone. Whereas K-pop coverage once focused heavily on sales figures and chart rankings, discussions began shifting toward mental health and career sustainability. Jungkook's name emerged as a concrete example that even the brightest figures need room to pause and breathe. For ARMY, Jungkook's return carried a strong emotional impact. Many fans shared that they felt closer to him, not because of increased appearances, but because of his emotional honesty. Across platforms, fans shared how Jungkook's decision to take a break inspired them to do the same in their own lives. In this way, Jungkook transcended his role as an entertainer and became a symbol of self-care. As time passed, the focus returned to his work. The music and projects he participated in carried a new nuance, more personal and more daring. Listeners sensed deeper emotion, as if every note reflected an unseen journey. Critics largely responded positively, praising his courage to evolve without losing the identity that made him beloved. In a broader context, this story leaves an important question for the entertainment industry. Will breaks become more accepted in the future? Jungkook's experience shows that temporary absence does not necessarily mean loss of relevance. On the contrary, the silence created space for reflection and strengthened his presence with a more human dimension. Eventually, the mystery of where Jungkook was transformed from gossip into a symbol of an individual's right to set their own life rhythm. Jungkook returned not with spectacle, but with a subtle message that resonated deeply. Over time, the story of Jungkook's silence evolved beyond entertainment news into a social narrative. It reminded many that fame is not immune to exhaustion, pressure, and self-searching. In his silence, Jungkook spoke most loudly about the vulnerability behind stardom. Today, Jungkook moves forward with greater awareness. He does not erase his silent period, nor does he dramatize it. He allows it to remain a chapter that shaped his next steps. And in doing so, he shows a rare maturity in an industry that often demands perfection. Ultimately, the legend of Jungkook's disappearance may live on among fans. But over time, the focus shifts from physical location to inner journey. Jungkook returned not as a puzzle to be solved, but as a story to be felt, leaving behind a message that the greatest courage of a star is sometimes not shining the brightest, but stepping back to find oneself.
To the battles won, still king of gold.